Man, I was wondering what happened to this woman. Well, the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is back in the news again. Now, y'all remember Tiffany Henyard? Man, she was the mayor of Dalton and was also like, she also ran like the Thornton Township, right? Where she presided over like 200,000 people. But the city of Dalton was like a small town where she was the mayor of that town as well. Now, we know that this Tiffany Henyard news went locally, nationally and internationally. Everybody was talking about her all over the place. We seen they had brawls inside meetings. We know that she was spending money, taking lavish trips. There was even an alleged essay situation alleged that was supposed to allegedly had happened, but it ended up getting thrown out. We seen the people come and voice their displeasure about this woman. She went on to Roland Martin. Like this woman was defiant to the end, and she didn't care. She fired a police chief. He resurfaced down in Florida and did videos on her. Brought in another police chief that the people voted out. And it was just a mess, a big time mess. Let's revisit some of this stuff.
Nationally known R&B singer Keke Wyatt to headline the Taste of Thornton Township last month. There were other performers plus daytime events for kids, but given the fury over Tiffany Henyard's spending, we were curious what the event cost. WGN Investigates obtained the bills through open records laws. They show Keke Wyatt was paid $30,000 for a 30-minute performance. Rapper Jay Holiday made $20,000 for a half-hour set. Other costs, including comedians, bounce houses, staff, and equipment, add $35,000, meaning this single-day event cost South Suburban taxpayers more than $85,000.
I was flabbergasted. I was pissed off. That's my money. That's the people's money.
That was a flop. It might have been approximately 65 to 70 people there.
We out here at Taste of Thornton. Yeah, keep raining, but it's still going on. Right now they got the comedians up there.
Now, you saw how she was just spending the money, right? And they often talked about the credit cards and how she moved the money, and to report how she was spending the money. She would never report it to the board. So she would get into these big arguments and fights, right, with the people on the board. And we would tune in to watch because it was crazy. They started bringing in independent people to come in and do investigations. We thought that she was going to prison, but she never went to prison. But let's look at the spending.
But what she rarely publicizes are her travels, trips frequently paid for by taxpayers.
If you want to have a good time, spend your own dime.
Despite being a trustee, this is the first time Tammy Brown has been able to see the village's credit card statements, records we had to get through a judge's order.
When you see things like this, it's like a punch in the gut.
Last January, we told you Tiffany Henyard and her entourage racked up more than $67,000 in travel-related charges in just 5 months. But that's just what was charged to Thornton Township credit cards, where she's the supervisor. When you add in what was billed to Dalton, trips for Mayor Henyard and her entourage cost taxpayers more than $100,000. We questioned Henyard about travel last fall.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
How things were done in Dalton is costing taxpayers dearly. Records we obtained show the village leased 3 luxury SUVs for Henyard's use at a cost to residents of more than $374,000. Back to those Dalton credit cards. They include nearly $25,000 charged in 5 months without explanation to places like Walmart, Target, and Jewel. There was $5,000 spent at local restaurants and Uber Eats. And Tiffany Henyard's personal photographer charged the village $3,400.
So we know that there's still an ongoing investigation, and she hasn't been put in bracelets yet, right? So she took the money after she got voted out and ran down to Atlanta. And she's been down in Atlanta. But she came on, she did this podcast, and I don't even know why she's still talking, right? She's talking now. Now, mind you, she's a master manipulator, a master liar. But she went on to this podcast, this Big Facts podcast, and to tell her side of the story again, because she was banned, I'm talking about barbecue, across the media. So now that she's not in public office no more, she's getting out in front of this. And she went on to that podcast to say this.
Right, okay, whatever.
Right.
But no one's coming with facts. People just talking because they don't like someone. I want people this time around to actually go do your research. Then you can speak with facts and not fictional.
Well, one thing that I've heard from a lot of people is that a lot of people are saying that people keep voting for Democrats or keep voting Democrat, but the Democrats aren't doing anything for the black community.
That's true.
So
I lived it. That's true.
You lived it. You mean
I lived it. Because I am a Democrat. I ran as a Democrat. And if you go check my voting record, that's what I always pull, a Democrat ballot. And Democrats really need some help. And I'm here to say it proudly that a lot of them don't belong in the seats that they're in. Residents have to really research them and stop listening because they say they're a Democrat don't mean they for you. They're normally for themselves. You have to really pay attention and change the narrative that we see right now.
Right.
Because right now, Republicans are doing a good job to me. This is my opinion.
No, of course.
Everybody got their own opinion.
Everyone has their own opinion.
What, when, where. I'm only speaking because I lived it by me being a Democrat, and my very own is the ones that was attacking me.
Right.
And they're Democrats.
Right.
So make it make sense. And then once they got the seat, they did nothing for the people. So.
And you mean the seat back home where you're
back
from?
Back home in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, in Illinois. Yeah.
And see, you can see that Democratic ship is leaking oil and it's sinking quick like the Titanic. A lot of people is jumping off the Democratic bandwagon because the Democrats have been a colossal failure on many different levels, right? So now she's saying that she was attacked by those Dems, right? I call them the Democrats, right? And now, now she's speaking a new tune. And my whole thing is I agree with that part of what she was saying. But the way she carried on, and I always said though, in my videos of Tiffany Henyard, why was she there in the first place if she wasn't qualified? Who put her there, right? Other people in that town had ulterior motives to put her there where they can control her. And when they found out they couldn't control her, they did everything they could do to ridicule her to get her out of there. Because if she wasn't qualified, she shouldn't have never been there in the first place. But she wasn't done.
And I have a song called Standing on Business, my book. And I have a song called To Feed the People.
To feed the people.
Yes. So they're starving the people and feeding the board. My song go, I'm starving the board, I'm feeding the people. And that's what I did. I've always fed the people. You put the people first,
right.
You will always succeed.
Right. Before you got here today, I was doing my research on you, and I seen you back home doing a food drive.
Yes.
And when she said she was feeding the people, Miss Ma'am was really out there feeding the people. And just to back her up a little bit, you said that the political figures here don't have their boots on the ground. I will say I saw her boots on the ground, honey. She was handing out eggs, turkeys. Like you didn't have your assistants out there. I didn't see no volunteers. I didn't even see no security. I don't know if you had security, and then it was lines of cars. Correct. It looked like thousands of cars that pulled up.
Right, it is. We feed thousands of people every year. We have the largest food pantry in the state of Illinois. And basically now that people have taken over the food pantry, now they're not feeding the people.
No.
They only giving a turkey. When you came and ate from me, your super mayor, I gave you greens, beans, potatoes, yams, you name it, it's in the box. But now they suffering. And that hurts my heart because that's not what public service stands for. It's all about giving back and making a way for those that can't make a way. And then making sure that people understand how to grow from where they are.
Right.
Because a lot of people are content with staying where they are. And I'm not. I always want growth. You should learn something every single day. You're never too old, too young to learn something new.
Have you reached out to the people that took when you stepped down and somebody take over the pantry back in Illinois?
Well, I didn't step down. I lost my seat over in Illinois, and basically it's a different person that stole the election. So all the stuff that, I will say this about Trump, that Trump states, fake news, election rigging, stealing seats, it is happening. Because it's happening in Illinois. And I was right there to see it at the caucus in December of 2024, where a person came and stole the election. They didn't even let the people in to vote.
What?
Yes, it was voter suppression at its worst. The news covered it. They saw it all, but guess what? No one did anything. People signed affidavits saying they wanted their vote to count, did not count. And that person just stole the seat.
Those are very shocking revelations. So
Yes.
what can we do about that?
Well, the people got to stand up. They got to take a stance, and they can't go mute. They have to come together as a whole, not just 1, 2, 3, 100, 200. It has to be thousands of people to take a stance against corruption, against election rigging. That's why it's a lot of things that Trump say. He's right on point.
Right.
Because I've seen it and I lived it.
I want to go back a little bit about the stealing of the seats back home. So you're saying the person who's in office now back in your city where you came
Correct.
from, you don't think he got that position fair and square?
And I know he did not get that seat fair and square.
Okay.
I know that for a fact because my name was part of being chosen as the supervisor and several other people that want to put their name in the hat. A caucus. A caucus is where people go and they have one day where the residents come out and they can vote for who they want to place on the ballot. That's how they used to do it way back yonder.
Right.
And now they brought that same thing back and they had people in the building that was not registered to vote, did not live in Thornton Township, and basically they was in there voting. And that's what I mean by what Trump's saying is true. That is happening in the Democrat Party.
I will say this, because of all the accusations that she was being accused of, she was never arrested for them. The feds was there, the DA was there, everybody was there, and was investigating records. She was never put in bracelets. Now I know that they were saying that she spent thousands and thousands of dollars of overtime for her police, right? We know that she took these lavish trips and she did all these different things. She even was doing pay for play. She wasn't renewing the licenses of business owners there if they wasn't voting for her. We seen her take important documents and records of people and throw them out in the hallway, and was locking out people that worked in office, that worked for the city. If they wasn't riding with her, wasn't part of her regime, she was getting you up out of there, right? And there was a tug of war and a battle, but she was never arrested. Never arrested, right? I got to call it for what it is. I made 2 years of videos going in on her, so I got to be honest and fair. All the accusations that was levied against her, this woman was never put in bracelets. Never. Now, I'm not saying that she won't be, but we reported scores of videos of this woman. So now she's on here, she's telling her story. And she's saying, listen, the way it was being told to you guys wasn't the truth. Now, I don't fully know because I wasn't there. I'm only reporting what was reported on, right? But she's calling out the Democratic Party the same way I call out the Democratic Party. And that doesn't mean that I side with her or the other group, but with her, the way that she would talk and the way that she would behave was ugly. It didn't look right. But that don't mean just because she behaved that way that she was fully guilty of what they was accusing her of. That don't mean that either. But listen, Tiffany Henyard is back in the news. Tiffany Henyard is telling her story. Regardless of what we think of her, she ain't been locked up yet. When the feds come investigate, they got you, they coming to get you. They ain't came and got her yet. Well, let me know what y'all think. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Well, I'll say this at the end. If she shouldn't have never been in the first place if she wasn't qualified. I keep saying that those people that sit on the seat in Thornton Township, they should have been investigated. A lot of those people in the city that she was the mayor in, they should have been investigated. Right? She was the one that was the fall on the sword for everything. There's been a lot of corruption going on in that town. But let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.